Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be talking about the week that was in pro wrestling. Very interesting week, as we have a 3-hour special Dynamite Collision combination show for Wednesday and TNA Impact. So now with NWA Power now being on Saturdays, I'll cover that on Mondays now. So, yeah, definitely a bit of a switch up I didn't see coming. But, yeah, I'm going to have some fun with this. So we start off with the AEW Dynamite / Collision 3-hour special. We start off with a tribute to the late Ted Turner. Now, Turner just passed away at 87 yesterday, and while he did start TBS and TNT, along with a whole lot of other things, he was the money behind WCW. If you don't know what that was, it was a promotion back in like the 90s that was direct competition to WWE. WWE, WWF, whatever you want to call it. Vince McMahon promotion. And he did such a good job at beating him, at least early on, that Vince kind of started the Attitude Era. So, if it wasn't for Ted Turner, I don't think we would have had the Attitude Era. It might have looked very different. We might have actually gotten Stone Cold Steve Austin's name being Chili McFreeze. And look that up. That was potentially his name. Or the name of his character. So Tony Schiavone does the tribute. Very nice. Very evil. Sorry, Danhausen reference. And then out comes someone with a long history in WCW. And on Turner Broadcasting too, actually. He was in AEW for a bit. It's Sting. So good to see him back, and honestly, if I was Sting, I don't think I would have worn the face paint. I feel like this somber moment, maybe you go without. That's just me. That's just me. Not saying that's what you have to do. It's me saying that's what I would have done. So, anyway, Sting joins in, tells a story about how, maybe someone in the Turner promotion wasn't exactly fond of wrestling. So Ted told Sting and the locker room, "Don't worry, I got some deep pockets." Which, yeah, that sounds like Ted Turner. Then we got a nice little 10-bow salute, which, rest in peace, Ted Turner. So, definitely a nice little tribute. Not sure what the WWE is going to do, but I don't know. Considering Ted Turner was in charge of their biggest rival for years. I guess we'll see. Could be something coming tonight. Anyway, we start off with match numero uno, and it's an AEW Continental title eliminator match, meaning if the challenger pins or submits the champion, or even just survives the time limit, they get a future title shot. So we got Continental Champion Jon Moxley taking on Rock Hard Juice Robinson. And, this was an awesome way to kick off the show. These two have some great chemistry together. One point we see Juice Robinson literally go ass over tea kettle for a cannonball. Excuse me. But eventually, after a takeover into a bulldog choke, Juice doesn't tap out, but he passes out, and Moxley picks up the win. Now, the way this was going, with the guns back in the fold, I thought we would have been seeing Jay White after this, and they would have set up Anarchy in the Arena for Double or Nothing. But it looks like we're going another way with that, because we got something coming down the pipeline for that. Like, Jesus. So, post that, we get a little bit more Will Ospreay training with the Death Riders, where he's doing, like, push-ups with Pac on his back, which is super strange looking. So, Moxley then tells everybody to stop. He sits right next to Ospreay. Ospreay kind of looks over. He sits up. Moxley says to him, I heard you were off the flight. You won the titles with your buddies in Japan. We don't care here. We're here so you can be the best version of yourself. And you gotta work for it. Then he kind of turns away, kind of puts his fingers to his chin, says, you ever hear the concept of the death ground? Ospreay kind of perks up a little bit. Mox continues, it's a ground you cannot escape. It's do or die. That's where you're at right now. You don't get this right, you're done. It could have been your career. It's a privilege of where you're at right now. But you're on death ground. Nothing else exists except what's in front of you. Yeah, that was so well done. I loved every single second of this. And, Moxley's words hold true for a lot of people, apparently. And, I cannot wait to see where this goes. Because either A, Mox is going to double-cross Ospreay, or Ospreay's going to double-cross Mox. But either way, it's going to be fun. Speaking of fun, this was very, very interesting because we get a double Jeopardy match where whoever wins gets a shot at the title the team is holding. So we got Dax Hardwood, one half of the tag team champions, taking on Orange Cassidy of the trios champions. Now Dax comes out with the usual cast of characters. He's got Cash Wheeler, he's got Stokely in his corner, and he's dressed like Orange Cassidy, which, that's a great look on him. Then we got Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero with them, in which that does kind of make sense because they've been associating with FTR for a little bit, backing them up against Cage and Copeland. But then a weird duo kind of comes out of nowhere. It's the Dogs. It's Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd. So I'm thinking, why are these guys here? Then I see who's coming out with Orange Cassidy. We got the usual cast of characters. It's Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, his tag team partners. Then the Young Bucks come out, and I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. And then Cage and Copeland come out, and that actually makes sense because they're facing FTR at Double or Nothing. So, this match was really, really good. Except for the end. The end was a little weird. Because at the end, Dax Harwood had Orange Cassidy in like a crossface move. But then Cassidy rose through it for the pin, but it definitely looked like Dax had one of his shoulders up. But ref counted and gets the 3 count. So Orange Cassidy won a tag team title shot in the future for the conglomeration. So I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll see. Maybe it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. Maybe it'll be Strong and Cassidy. Either way, I don't think we can lose. But like I said, just a little bit of an awkward finish. Post-match, everyone gets in the ring and they just start brawling. Baby faces throw everyone out of the ring besides Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero. Rocky's trying to talk his way out of this, sacrificing Trent for himself. But eventually, Babyface's hit all kinds of moves on him. Copeland with the spear. Looked like Cage was about to hit it too. Then he stopped short. Low blow. And that ends the segment. So I don't think these other teams are going to be added to the tag title match. But I do think we'll get something from them either during a Dynamite coming up, or it's going to be like on the pre-show somewhere, and it's going to be like a number one contenders match or something. Either way, little odd, but I kind of dig a little odd. Next, we get a Roosh hype video in which AEW are doing so good with these. Although, I'll save my opinion on what they're doing with Roosh in a little bit. First, we get a Chris Jericho interview. He's like, last time I was here, I was pissed off. Now I'm furious. I'm tired of getting attacked from behind. The time for words is over. It's time to fight. But I'm going to do my fighting in front of the people. So he takes the microphone from the interviewer and hits the ring. Gets in the ring. He says, I'm going to keep it simple. This is Dynamite. I'm done with the attacks from behind. Ricochet, I demand you come out and talk to me face to face. So Ricochet comes out. It looked like it was on his own at first. But then Toa Liona and Bishop Khan come out. They all get in the ring. Toa Liona then pushes his way past Jericho to get a microphone for Ricochet. Ricochet says, look, I tried to do you a favor and you didn't listen. I have trademarked your saying about you getting beaten up by the Demand. Either you have some humiliation kink, but we can get you right now. But for real, I'm getting tired of this. If we're doing this match again, what do we get out of this? Then we see Bishop Khan call Ricochet over, whispers something in his ear. Then Ricochet says, oh, I like that. And 6 years ago, you created your own match, Jericho. At Double or Nothing, we're going to deal you a losing record in your own match. And this time, I'm not going to beat you with the Rico Assault. I'm going to beat you in Stadium Stampede. Oh. Okay. So Jericho chimes in. You really want Stadium Stampede? You got it. I'll find 4 other partners. And if I somehow can't, I'll face you all myself. Then Jericho slaps the taste out of Ricochet's mouth, tosses Khan and Leona over the rope, hits a Judas effect, goes for the lion salt, but Toa Liona grabs his ankle. The Demand then surrounds Jericho. Out comes the Hurt Syndicate to make the save. So it looks like we at least got 3 members of Jericho's team. So we got Jericho, Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, maybe MVP. And then we potentially got one more there. For the Demand, it's obviously Ricochet, Bishop Khan, Toa Liona. So we're missing 2. So who they're going to get for the last few men, I guess we'll see in the coming weeks. Then we got this weird interview with Mina Shirakawa and Harley Cameron, reacting to their upcoming match, saying, Mina starts, Harley, you gotta watch out. You got a match tonight. No, that was Harley saying, I'm not sure about this match. Then Mina kind of gets in her face, saying, Harley, You're the first ever one half of the first ever women's tag team champions. You gotta stop looking upset and start getting fired up. So then Shirakawa grabs Harley's shirt, rips it, and she's just standing there in her bra. And Mina asks, I thought you were in your gear. Harley says, no, I wasn't. So then Mina walks off. Harley and the interviewer have a minute saying, you should probably go get dressed. And she's like, yeah. So, definitely a funny little moment. We're going to see where that goes a little bit later on. But I like moments like these. These kind of hype little moments. Getting Harley's head back into it. It's great. It's fun. And honestly, I was not expecting that. Like, honestly. I think Mina might have gone off script a little bit with the shirt rip. But, yeah, that was a little awkward, but I think it adds to Harley's character a little. So next up, first of a couple title matches on the evening, as the international title is on the line for feels like the first time in forever. We got Kazuchika Okada taking on Brian Keith. And it's definitely been a while since I've seen Brian Keith. Let's bring him back regularly. This match was really, really good. These two have some great chemistry. I don't know if they've ever had a match before together, but they worked extremely well together. At one point we get Brian Keith hitting a Tiger Driver, which that looked awesome. Only gets a 2 count. Okada on the outside blocks the Diamond Dust. Hits a big clothesline. Finally hits the Rainmaker to pick up the win. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be a fun one. That was definitely a fun one. We'll see what happens with Takeshita at Double or Nothing. Although, we'll get there. So then Don Callis gets in the ring, gets on the microphone, says, Okada has something very important to say. He gives the microphone to Okada, who says, while I already have the international title, I want more gold. I'm coming for the AEW World title. It's about time! Oh, it's been too long since I've seen Okada in a world title match. Let's go! And we're not going to have to wait. We're not going to have to wait too long. So then we get an Andrade hype video, which felt very out of place, but it's appreciated. Then we got a promo from Jet Speed, with Bayley kind of taking the lead, saying, Jet 2 belts, it has a nice little ring to it. You're going to go out there tonight and prove you're a star. Kevin Knight then takes over and says, ever since I started here in AEW, things have changed for the better. Darby, I respect the heck out of you, but I'm going to become the new AEW World Champion. So them's fighting words for the main event. We'll see that a little later. Then we got a promo from The Ops, except there's no hook. And it's just Joe, Anthony Bowens, and Katsuyori Shibata. And he's still talking about recruiting Ospreay, which is weird. Where he's saying, men like Mox are telling you how to think. All I see is momentum. I know you're destined for greatness. But how much will be left? With men like us, it could be for a long time. We're going to provide you an opportunity for you to be successful. And no one else can Shibata be himself. The decision's in your hands. And if it isn't accepted, I'll raise my fists. Ospreay versus Joe. Heck yeah, let's go. Although, I'm going to say this. This felt less like a recruitment video and more like a, please, 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 join our crew, join our crew. It kind of felt like Joe being more desperate than being a master recruiter, if that makes any sense. Anyway, next matchup. We got is Harley Cameron and Mina Shirakawa taking on Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. And this was a fun little matchup. There were some mess-ups here and there, but overall, these four women really looked good in this matchup. Although we did see Hikaru Shida accidentally hit Statlander, but eventually, after a Falcon Arrow, your winners, Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. Post-match, while Shida is on the turnbuckle celebrating, you just see Statlander just giving the thumbs up, like she is not happy about this team. And honestly, I don't blame her. So, we're going to see where this goes. Maybe we see a number one contendership match against the Brawling. Although, it seems like Alex Windsor's out hurt now, which is a shame. But, yeah, we'll see where this goes. Next up, we get a promo from Swerve Strickland, which kind of starts out showing Prince Nana. So it cuts to Strickland, and he says, 2 months ago, I told everyone I was after power, and real power comes from real men who can't be stopped. And I go from the most dangerous to the most wanted. More power means more control, and I want it all. So we definitely got some motivation for Swerve to go after Bandito. We'll see where that goes. I'm definitely hyped for that matchup. So then, go to commercial, come back, interview from Brodito. So that's Bandito and Brody King. Bandito starts saying, I am the most wanted man. If you want me, you got me. So then Brody King chimes in saying, Swerve, it's one thing to mess with me, but when you mess with my friends, there will be hell to pay. Are we going to get like a tag match or something? This is definitely going to be interesting. So next up, we got the main event portion of Dynamite. Remember, this is a 3-hour show with 1 hour of Collision, where we see the AEW World title on the line, as we had Darby Allin taking on Kevin Knight. And while this match did start a bit slowly, it definitely built up to its crescendo really, really well. Like, it feels like these two guys have faced each other 97,000 times, even though I think this is their first match together, which is very interesting. Kind of near the end, Kevin Knight attempts a dropkick that gets caught right into a Scorpion Deathlock by Darby Allin. Kevin Knight reaches the ropes. A couple of times, Darby Allin goes for the coffin drop, but that gets blocked, with Kevin Knight getting his knees up. Eventually, Knight gets Darby Allin in the Tree of Woe position, which is upside down, feet first, hanging from the turnbuckle. And then Kevin Knight goes coast to coast, hits the UFO splash, only gets a 2 count, goes up for another UFO splash. Darby rolls out of the ring, grabs Kevin Knight, locks him in the guillotine choke. Knight fades, but eventually he does fight out. Darby with an arm wrench, couple of strikes to knock him down, 2 coffin drops in a row, and your winner is Darby Allin. Then post-match, we got Sting joins Darby Allin in a celebration. Sting then raises Darby's hand, raises Kevin Knight's hand, who looks a little reluctant. Then Sting and Knight leave. Darby goes to leave, and we hear bum 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 bum. It's MJF. So he comes out on the ramp and he says, I don't know what's worse, that I gotta be here in this town, or this man is holding my AEW World title, and no one wants to see you with that title. And this gets a yes we do chant. MJF continues, while this has all been cute, it's time for me to get my rematch. Darby straight up says, no, I told you, if you want a rematch, you gotta put something on the line. Then MJF says, alright, if you give me my rematch, I'll put my scarf on the line. It's a very nice, expensive scarf. Darby says, no. Then MJF takes a second, looks down at his hand, says, alright, I regret even saying this, but if you give me my title shot, I'll put my Dynamite Diamond ring on the line. So Darby takes a second, says, no. So MJF continues, Darby, you're starting to piss me off. You know what? Everyone loves money. How about you give me my title shot? I'll give you $1 million. Darby responds, no, your money is clearly no good here. MJF then snaps, saying, okay, what do you want? Darby explains, I want something you hold most dear, that you fly overseas to get implants for. I'm like, huh? I want your hair. So, then a look of dread comes over MJF's face. Cut back to Darby, who says, next week, there's going to be a contract signing for a title versus hair match. And if you don't show up, you'll never get a title shot again. Looked like MJF was going to rebuttal. He then drops the mic and walks out. I will admit, that isn't what I was expecting. I was expecting something to do with getting Hangman Page reintroduced to the World Heavyweight Division. But this could be interesting. We haven't had a good hair versus whatever match in a while, and I'd be totally down for that. However, I think this is going to be a swerve. I think this is what it's going to be initially to get MJF back in for his title match, but then it's going to be like, oh, if you lose this match, you don't actually lose your hair. Hangman Adam Page then gets returned to the World Heavyweight title division. Honestly, it could go either way, and I am so ready for it. So then Darby goes to leave again. Out comes Kazuchika Okada. They both get back in the ring, and Okada says, next Wednesday, it's me versus you for your World Heavyweight title. And Darby responds, oh, you want my title? It's on, bitch. And walks off. Oh, that was such a good segment. Nice, easy, to the point. And Okada finally getting his AEW World title shot. I do wish there was a little bit more story to it, but I'll take it when I can get it. So next we go backstage with Will Ospreay and Doc Samson, where Doc Samson reveals you went against medical advice, you went to Japan, but it's clear you improved. So next week we're going to get this MRI. This week we're going to give you an MRI, and if it's good, you'll be cleared. So Doc Sampson walks off. We then get a one-on-one interview with Will Ospreay, where he says, look, I've come from a very bad place. I'm working my way back. But no, I'm not a Death Rider. I will never be a Death Rider. All I did was I did what I had to get back. So, nice, easy, to the point. I think at this point we're in Collision, which, I'm definitely fine with. It does. This has the vibe of either A, Ospreay is definitely in the Death Riders and he's just hiding it for now, or B, he's about to pull off something interesting. And he's going to betray Moxley and maybe take over the Death Riders, which, I don't know, that could be interesting. So now we got our first matchup for Collision. We got AR Fox taking on Speedball Mike Bailey. And while not a bad match in any means, it was definitely a match. Like, I was entertained by it. It was definitely fun. It definitely felt kind of old school X Division-y. But overall, it was a fine match. Match ends with Speedball Mike Bailey blocking a Spanish Fly, then hitting an Ultimate Weapon to pick up the win. I will admit, though, this match felt a little rushed. I hope everyone in there is okay. But yeah, something's definitely up with that. Anyway, then we go backstage for a Willow Nightingale promo, saying it's an honor to be the TBS champion. And after 9 defenses, I've stopped every comeback who stepped up. So whoever wants next should step up. I plan on defending this title every single week. So, definitely a mission statement from Willow. More than likely, this is to set up the return for Mercedes Moné, which, it's been too damn long. So next up, we get a promo from Pac. They're still in the back in the training grounds of the Death Riders, saying, Darby, congratulations to the man who never quits, but don't you dare forget about me. You and I in AEW were 2-1 in my favor, so I think that gets me a shot at the World Heavyweight title. I promise I'm one mountain you'll never conquer. Why don't you come prove me wrong? And you'll let me know, won't you? So, we're going to be getting that match this Saturday, which, that should be fun. That should be a damn good matchup. For the hour, Fairway to Hell special, which, that's going to take place on, in a Top Golf arena style arena, which is very interesting. Next match, we get Jamie Hayter taking on Sky Blue in what was another very good but kind of basic TV match. Honestly, nothing bad about it, with Jamie Hayter winning after a gigantic Haterade up the top rope to pick up the win. Then we see Thekla and Julia Hart in the crowd. Looks like Julia's trying to get down the ring to save her partner, but Thekla's holding her back. Hayter eventually does see them, looks down the Sky Blue, picks her up, hits a clothesline on her. So, I guess Jamie Hayter is going to be the next challenger? I genuinely do not know what they're going to be doing with the women's title come Double or Nothing. Then we get a backstage promo from the Don Callis family. It's Callis, it's Takeshita, it's Okada, and it's Mark Davis, with Don Callis pretty much talking the entire time, saying everything has come up for us. Davis is going to crush Jack Perry. Okada just had a successful title defense, and now he staked his claim in the AEW World title picture. And then Takeshita turns to Don Callis, says, Okada shouldn't be worried about the AEW title. He should be worried about me at Double or Nothing. So Callis keeps them separate. Takeshita walks off. Then Callis reveals, Okada is now my hand-picked choice to win the AEW title. Then Andrade, who I forgot to mention is there, turns to him and says, how do you know? And walks off. And then Callis just says, hey, what's good for us is more gold for the Callis family. So, we're seeing a live breakdown of the Don Callis family. Definitely going to be interesting who joins Takeshita and Andrade. Next up is pretty much a squash match as Rush takes on Manny Lowe. Manny Lowe definitely that name sounds familiar. I don't know where I know him from. But before the match, he extends his hand to Rush, who kicks it away. And then Rush just coasted down on poor Manny Lowe. Like this was definitely a 4-move match, ending with the bullhorns for Rush, who then gets the microphone and says, remember, when you get the mess with the bull, you get the horns. So I don't know what they're building up Rush for. I hope it's something more than whatever the heck they're doing here. But something interesting happens after this. We get a Jack Perry national title tour vignette where he's like touring around this big rock or whatever. It's definitely cinematic. I would absolutely have Rush challenge and then maybe potentially beat Jack Perry for the national title. I feel like he's more than deserved it. And now we get our main event. And oh boy, that was a clusterfuck. As we get the Death Riders, so that's Claudio Castagnoli, Daniel Garcia, and Wheeler Yuta, teaming up with Clark Connors and David Finlay of the Dogs to take on the Young Bucks, Austin, Colton Gunn, and not Juice Robinson, it was Ace Austin of the Bang Bang Gang. And yeah, like I said, this was a cluster. It was so hard to keep track of not only who was in the match legally, but what the heck they were doing. Because it was like mile a minute. And by the end, we see everyone hitting each other with their finishers, finishing up with a super kick and a dive, and then Ace Austin hitting the fold on Wheeler Yuta to pick up a win for the Bang Bang Gang and the Young Bucks. And at that point, I thought we were going to see the Death Riders roll in, beat them up, and then Jay White come out and make the save. But all that happened is Death Riders and Dogs went their separate ways, and Juice Robinson came out to join in the celebration. So, I'm going to say this. This wasn't a bad episode of Dynamite, but it was average, to say the most. I don't know. I feel like this needed a little bit more. A little more juice. A little more explanation as to, you know, what things are going on. And then more setup for Double or Nothing. Like, we are 2 weeks away from this show. And we got 3 matches on the card so far. So, Tony Khan, whoever else is involved in creative, let's get some more matches confirmed for this show. Please. I beg of thee. So that was the Dynamite Collision 3 hours. We now finish up with TNA Impact Wrestling. We start off with a recap of last week's going on, in which, honestly, I'm going to say this, I do kind of enjoy that. Like, I don't always watch TNA, I try to, but there's some weeks I do miss out, and having this recap is nice. So, anyway, first matchup on the card is a no DQ match between Eric Young and EC3. And these two brought pretty much all the weapons they could against each other, except for one. No thumbtacks, which I thought was interesting. Eventually, EC3 gets Eric Young in the hardcore necktie, goes to throw him against the ring post. Then Eric Young low blows him a couple times. They get back in the ring. EC3 hits a drop toe hold on Eric Young, and he's still wearing the chair, so it bounces him. He hits the 1%er. Eric Young then rose to the apron. EC3 follows him. Punch more low blows to EC3. Then Eric Young takes off the chair, hits a pile driver off the apron through the table that's sitting ringside. Gets him back in, hits a pile driver on a chair to pick up the win. Definitely a kind of by-the-numbers plunder match, but I definitely did enjoy it. At least as much as I can enjoy stuff like this. We'll see what goes on in the near future for these two, because I got a funny feeling they're not done. So next up, we got an Ariana Grace interview, and I'm going to say this, the less of her I see on my TV, the better. This woman is not good. So she pretty much says to the interviewer, this rematch shouldn't have happened. I already beat Legion Lee, but my dad thinks I should be humbled, and so he had me jump through hoops just to get here. And then Stax, who's their manager now, says, no, you got this. Ariana Grace then turns to him and says, you're only saying this because you have a plan, don't you? And Stax is like, yeah, I got a plan. Well, then tonight is going to be super easy. Oh, I hate the ego on this woman. Like, she thinks she should be celebrated, and it's... And I'm going to say this right now. TNA, let's do less of the NXT integration. I don't think that has helped as much as you think. So let's stop with the NXT stuff for a little bit. Let's focus on who's on your roster right now. Maybe add on a few people here and there. So anyway, we got a backstage promo from the System, in which I think they pretty much all take a turn saying, you know, TNA, and this is TNA Impact, and as usual, the System are carrying the load. So Myers then says, Nimeth and KC can't wait to rip your face. Oh no, that was Bear Bronson. Then Cedric says, we'll handle Moose and Slater later on, but tonight is the night of the System, and y'all find out that you can't beat the System. So, a very by-the-numbers promo, putting out what's going on later on. Then we get a promo from Elena Black, and to say this goes off the rails really quick is selling it short because she says, I just want to talk about something everyone knows. I'm the top knockout in the division. And while there's a big title match tonight that I'm somehow not a part of, but whoever wins, I'm coming for that title. And she continues, I bring in more views than anyone. The difference between me and the other knockouts is I'm business. This brings out the concierge, who introduces Ash by Elegance, who comes out to no music, which is very interesting. So Ash comes in, she grabs a microphone and says, you're out here talking about money? You look like a gothic prostitute, which, okay, TNA, I see you now. Ash continues, the Elegance brand swims in money, and you'll call yourself business? Well, I'm an empire. This brings out Indy Hartwell, who says, you're out here arguing who makes more money, but the Knockouts title match is tonight, and you're worried about whose paycheck is bigger. So then Ash says, oh, you get a step back, because I'm going to get the Knockouts title and add it to my empire. Elena then chimes in and says, you guys can focus on an argument, let alone the real world title. I'll let you guys argue about it. So Elena leaves. That just leaves Ash and Indy, who says, alright, let's let the real knockouts talk. Indy responds, real knockouts? Everything about you is fake. Your hair, your nails, your butt, your breasts. Then at that point, Ash cocks Indy with an elbow. Ash fights back. Indy fights back. Ash rolls out and just kind of sits, throwing a little temper tantrum. So yeah, that felt like that went way off the rails. I don't know what the end game for that is, but if we're getting an Ash versus Indy Hartwell match, I don't know. That's not something I need to see. So then we see Daria Ray in the back. She's talking on her cell phone, which looks like an old flip phone, if you remember those. And she says to whoever it is on the other line, I can't believe someone canceled Santino's flight. While he's not here, I guess I'll have to make the decision tonight. Which, you conniving little B word. So, it does look like what we're building up to for Lockdown might just be a Team Daria Ray versus Team Santino Lethal Lockdown match, which I could definitely get behind. So then we get the taglines for this upcoming matchup, which honestly I love TNA does this. It's like the little things that matter, that add to the show. As we get the TNA Tag Team titles on the line, as the System, Bear Bronson and Brian Myers, takes on Nick Nemeth and Casey Navarro. And this was a fun little matchup. I mean, we had points of big versus little with Bear Bronson and Casey Navarro. Casey and Myers definitely have some good chemistry too. But Nemeth, I don't know, Nemeth feels a little bit out of place in this matchup. Like, I don't know what's going on with that, but eventually Navarro was going for his big splash move. Alicia Edwards then grabs his leg. Then Bear Bronson takes him off the top rope, hits the bear down pile driver, which is a great name for a finisher, to pick up the win and retain the titles. So then Eddie Edwards, who is sitting ringside, gets the microphone and says, tonight the System is 1-for-1. Let's keep this momentum going with Moose and Slater. So you two get out here now so we can have our match. So Slater and Moose come out. We go to a commercial. And we get our match as it's Moose and Leon Slater taking on Eddie Edwards and Cedric Alexander of the System. And we have definitely seen these foreign matches before. But I think this was one of their better matches. Nothing felt rushed. Everything felt, I'm not going to say natural, but at the very least, it was entertaining. With Moose and Slater winning after a spear into a roll-up for your winners, Moose and Slater. So, System is 1-for-1 on the night. I guess we'll see where it goes. This feud goes in the future. We then get the injury report segment, which is another thing I really like that TNA does. It kind of adds a little bit of realism to the show. Then we get the video recap of last week's match between Vincent and Jeff Hardy, where it's revealed Broken Matt Hardy is back. Then we get a promo. At first it was going to be the System. Not the System, the Righteous, because we saw snapping at first. But then it cuts to the Hardys, starting with Broken Matt saying, "You clearly don't comprehend what's coming. You've opened Pandora's box. The Broken Hardys are here, but mortal men have a barrier in their mind, and we broke through it. The Broken Hardys are a gateway to much more, something more serious." And then Jeff Hardy starts kind of singing, saying, "Brother Nero is here to instill fear." He then takes a deep breath, closes his eyes, and then when he opens them, it's the... How do I explain these contact lenses? They're like opaque white, but they look like they got like holes in them. It's definitely a little bit weird, but it shows that, we got Brother Nero here instead of Jeff Hardy. So it does look like we're set for a trip to the Broken Universe and probably something happening at the Hardy compound. I think that's the issue. We've seen this stipulation and gimmick so many times that I don't know what more they can do to shock people. You got the Lake of Reincarnation and stuff like that, but how do you step that up? I'm willing to see where they're going, but I don't know if I'm all that excited. So anyway, then we get a Mike Santana in ring promo saying, "Last summer I fought to bring this title back from NXT and bring TNA back to its essence. Last week, me and Swan tore the house down and showed what it means. I showed what it means to be a world heavyweight champion. I gave my heart and soul. And I kind of like giving out my own opportunities for title shots. And I'm going to do that just now. And you want me to show you who's next?" At that point, Doria Ray comes out saying, No. I'm going to talk slowly so you can understand me. Mike Santana, you do not make the matches here. I do. And while it seems like someone canceled Santino's flight, I will pick your opponent. So next week, there's going to be a battle royal, and the winner gets the next shot. So Santana says, "You know what? You're right. I don't make the decisions here. They do," pointing to the crowd. That gets a nice pop. And I'm going to make that happen. And whoever wins that battle royal, the outcome will be just the same and I'm going to keep this title. So, yeah, definitely going to be interesting. I would like to see Mike Santana pick at least one more opponent before Daria Ray kind of goes full Empire on him. But at least we're going to get a Battle Royal. Maybe we'll see some fresh faces in it, hopefully. But, yeah, that should be interesting. So next up, we got a promo from AJ Francis. He's somewhere in the building. He says, a year ago, TNA made me put Casey Navarro in my group, and he steals my moment at Rebellion, and now I'm going to steal something from him, his health. So next week, it's going to be me versus Casey in a street fight. And I'm going to show the world why I'm called the best big man in the business. So, then some fighting words. Then we get a little ad break. Come back. We get a little rundown of next week's card, which looks absolutely like a ton of fun. Then we get a Casey Navarro promo, in which, I'm going to say this, guy needs to slow down on his promos a little bit. Because I barely got 2 words out of him. And he says, AJ, you talk smack about me all the time. I've been sick at home watching you talk about titles you can't win. Casey has evolved past needing you, but we were about to win the tag team titles, and you replaced me. And I fought back. 8 months later, I got cleared, and now I'm back in business. And while me and Nick couldn't win the tag team titles tonight, I'm not here without TNA's blessing. So if I don't belong, show me. So that was a nice little fired up promo from KC. Something I feel like he doesn't normally get, which is, cool. Then we get another tail of the tape, and we finish up with our main event. It's for the Knockouts title, as Ariana Grace takes on Li Yin Lee, the former Xia Li. And this match started out pretty good. Pacing kept improving as the time went on. I'm going to say this. This was Ariana Grace's best match by far. But as we did still see Stacks getting involved, including after a Warrior's Way by Lee, in which, honestly, I thought the Warrior's Way was something different. I thought it was like a double foot stomp, but apparently it's like a power slam. That gets a 2 count because Stack puts Grace's foot in the ropes. The ref sees it, points right at Stack. Stacks is like, no, I didn't do it. He gets thrown out of the match. However, he runs up to the apron, gets on, eats a drop kick from Lee. Ariana Grace with a roll-up attempt, get a 2 count. She hits a code breaker and a neck breaker combination to get a 2. Goes for a Death Valley driver, that gets blocked. Lee with a springboard neck breaker, which that looked impressive, to pick up the win. So, yeah, we got a new Knockouts champion. I'm going to say this right now. TNA, let's stop putting your titles on the mid-tier NXT guys. Let's focus on what you guys have, because you guys have a damn good roster. Let's use them well. Anyway, post-match is what's another very interesting moment, as we see Moose, and it looks like he got attacked from somebody, and stagehands are coming in saying, we need help over here. I'm not sure who could have attacked Moose, but I'm thinking more than likely it's the system. But I guess we'll find out as time goes on. So, yeah, that was TNA Impact. An okay episode. It wasn't bad. I will say this, though. I do think TNA has the right balance of in-ring wrestling and outside of the ring other stuff. I think they have a nice little combination there. I hope they keep it that way. So, yeah, that was TNA Impact. Hope everyone enjoyed. Monday, going to be covering NWA Power and AEW Fairway to Hell, which are both on Saturday. I hope you all have a very fun, safe Mother's Day on Sunday. Then we're going to get back to it. And I'm also thinking about doing a video on, Double or Nothing predictions, because we are coming up on it. We are 2 weeks away from that. And right now we are at 3 matches for that show. So, hopefully we get more added as time goes on. And until that time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.